Hey everybody, welcome. Oh my goodness, what a what challenging times. What challenging times. And I don't mean the world. I don't mean politics. I just mean me trying to make a video. Oh, what challenging times. It's Dickensian in scope. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Welcome back. I am Priscilla. This is the Evening Reader. I have to say, I think some of you may be new here. If you are new, of course, if you're not new, always welcome. Always everyone and all is welcome, welcome. But I have to say, there are some new faces out there because Shelley Swearingen very kindly last weekend gave a shout out to Terry from Terry Talks Books and to me here at this place, the Evening Reader headquarters. Don't know what else to call it. And it was just so kind. I think, maybe like a bit of enthusiastic hyperbole, but so sweet. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Shelley. And so if you're here from there, I hope that you will hang around for the chaos. Join the rest of these brave souls who always show up and who I appreciate so much. It's so nice to be able to like sit down and talk about books with you guys. So, and yes, I know I said you guys, and that's, you're not supposed to say that. I need to get back to saying y'all, but I had an entire lifetime of being from the South and having y'all just beat out of me by everybody. I finally get that you guys thing down, and now it's y'all again, which is fine. It's all good. Okay. Today I'm here to do a tag. I know it's not Tuesday, but I'm doing the tag anyway. And it's the 10 Untouched Books tag. I was tagged by Sue Jackson. Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you. Although I have to admit that I have already filmed this a couple of times back in the summer. Before it really became a tag, this was created, or this was a video that Rainer at Rainer Books did back in the summer. And then I think it kind of, he did it, and I think he shared it thinking that others would pick it up and also do it. But I don't think he made it it wasn't like a formal tag, if I remember correctly. I'll link to his version of the video down below. But he set up some rules. He was looking at what he had on his shelves, looking at his DBR, and the idea is that you are supposed to talk about 10 books that have been on your shelves for 2 years or longer. So it can't be a stack of books from like the last 6 months or the last year. It's got to be books that have been on your shelves for at least 2 years. And I have plenty. And I did this back in the summer, 2 different versions. The first version, I decided I didn't like the books that I had picked, so I did a second version, which will not surprise you to learn that it was kind of rambling and all over the place. And also then I decided I didn't like those books either, but it was like too long. It was too long and not in a way that I could edit it down to where it would make sense. I'm not going to say that we might not be in danger of that happening again, but we'll deal with it when we get there. And then last weekend, I made a new version and again decided that I didn't like the books, but also I made that video so I could post it this week. And then I got the shout out, and I didn't want to do a video where I wasn't saying thank you and welcome to new people. I didn't want to put a video out there that was like, oh yeah, that happened. So we have a new version, and I have a stack, and I'm going to stick with this stack. And not only am I going to stick with this stack, but I am going to say that the books that I've picked here, I am going to commit to try in 2026, meaning I will either read all 10 of these books or I will at least attempt to read all 10 of these books. I will I can DNF at will or move things around. I'm not going to commit to any order, but I am going to try because I would like to get that number down that's on my shelves. I would like to read. I have so many good books. I mean, it's like I'm like a used bookstore, except the books they're not really used. They're just things I bought and they're here on my shelves. I'm a bookstore. I am my own bookstore. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So I have a lot of unread books. I'm not including Kindle books in this list. These are all physical books that are on my shelves. So I look crazy. There is a gnat flying around. My husband has these pepper plants. It's a very long story. But we get these little gnats and they fly like right up in your face. And sometimes they fly like behind my glasses while I'm working. It's so annoying. But all part of the usual. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the blurb because that's all I've really got, y'all. I'm sorry. And then I'll read like a sentence or two from each book so you can just get a flavor, see what you think. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you're thinking about reading any of these. And I'd probably be open to buddy read. If anyone wants to buddy read some of these, that could be fun as well. All right, so the first book on the list, this author has a book coming out. He has a book coming out this year, but this is from 1999, and this is The Intuitionist by Colson Whitehead. I want to say this might be his first book. I'm not sure. Okay, but it says, two warring factions in the Department of Elevator Inspectors in a bustling metropolis vie for dominance. The empiricists, who go by the book and rigorously check every structural and mechanical detail, and the intuitionists, whose observational methods involve meditation and instinct. Lila Mae Watson, the city's first black female inspector and a devout intuitionist with the highest accuracy rate in the department, is at the center of the turmoil. An elevator in a new municipal building has crashed on Lila Mae's watch, fanning the flames of the empiricist-intuitionist feud and compelling Lila Mae to go underground to investigate. As she endeavors to clear her name, she becomes entangled in a web of intrigue that leads her to a secret that will change her life forever. That sounds good. I think this is kind of dystopian, maybe. What I love about Colson Whitehead is his, I guess would you want to call it courage? I don't know. I mean, in today's fiction world, I guess you would call it courage to write across genres, and not just stay in like one particular mode all the time. And the first line of this one is, "It's a new elevator, freshly pressed to the rails, and it's not built to fall this fast." Ooh, that sounds good. I like an active opening that kind of has some intrigue. All right, Colson. That sounded like okay. Don't throw your books. Don't toss your books. Okay, the second one. This is nonfiction, and this is an author. I've read a couple of her books. This is Sarah Vowell, Lafayette in the Somewhat United States. I read her books, Assassination, Vacation, and what is the name of the other one? It's about the history of Hawaii. Really good. Unfamiliar Fishes. But I've got several of her books on my shelves to read. And this is obviously one of them. You may know her from This American Life, or you may know she was the voice of Violet in the Incredibles films. She does terrific research, writes terrific prose. She's got an incredibly dry wit. Assassination Vacation was laugh out loud funny, and while it was also very informative and just a fascinating read. She takes a tour of places where presidents were assassinated or where there were attempted assassinations. And it is, yeah, you wouldn't think that would be a funny topic. And it's, I mean, it's not all funny, but she is very witty. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Okay, from the best-selling author of Assassination, Vacation, and The Partly Cloudy Patriot, which I also have, an insightful and unconventional account of George Washington's trusted officer and friend, that swashbuckling teenage French aristocrat, the Marquis de Lafayette. Chronicling General Lafayette's years in Washington's army, Vowell reflects on the ideals of the American Revolution versus the reality of the Revolutionary War. Riding shotgun with Lafayette, she swerves from the high-minded debates of Independence Hall to the frozen wasteland of Valley Forge, from bloody battlefields to the Palace of Versailles, bumping into John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Lord Cornwallis, Benjamin Franklin, Marie Antoinette, and various kings, Quakers, and redcoats along the way. Drawn to the Patriots' War out of a lust for glory, Enlightenment ideas, and the traditional French hatred for the British, young Lafayette crossed the Atlantic expecting to join forces with an undivided people, encountering instead fault lines between the Continental Congress and the Continental Army, rebel and loyalist inhabitants, and a conspiracy to fire George Washington, the one man holding together the rickety, seemingly doomed patriot cause. Really, this sounds, well, it sounds timely, doesn't it, in a way? Let's see. This is the first paragraph. How did the Marquis de Lafayette win over the stingiest, crankiest tax protesters in the history of the world? He trudged from France to Philadelphia, hung around the building where they signed the Declaration of Independence, and volunteered to work for free. The Continental Congress had its doubts about saddling General George Washington with a teenage French aristocrat, but Ben Franklin wrote from Paris that the kid might be of use, and what the hell, the price was right. I am sure that's going to be a lot of fun to read. I think I've got 2 more books by her on my shelf that I haven't read yet that I'm going to look forward to reading. Let's see, those are The Wordy Shipmates and oh, that's it. Just the Wordy Shipmates. That's the only other one that I've got, and The Partly Cloudy Patriot. So I've got those 2 also after this one, because she has not written a book probably since 2016 or 2017. So what's going on there, Sarah? Don't go all Donna Tartt on us. Get on that. All right. The next book is, I've had this on my shelf probably since 2017, because this is a book that I got as part of my Parnassus Books subscription box, which I had when I still lived in the States. And that's Ann Patchett's bookstore. It's a terrific subscription box. I highly recommend it if you're looking for, I'm not affiliated, don't get any credit for this, but it's terrific. And if you're looking for like a gift or something, or if you want to get a gift for yourself, or you're interested in subscription boxes, that's a really good one. I also had one from Powell's that I loved. I don't know if Powell's is still going, but I know the Parnassus one is, just because I follow Parnassus Books and Ann Patchett on social media. Anyway, after that word from ours, but no, there's no sponsor. I'm not sponsored. I am not sponsored. That's a joke. Okay. But this is Anatomy of a Miracle by Jonathan Miles. So let's see what this is all about. It says, rendered paraplegic after a traumatic event 4 years ago, Cameron Harris has been living his new existence alongside his sister, Tanya, in their battered Biloxi, Mississippi neighborhood, where only half the houses made it through Hurricane Katrina. One stiflingly hot August afternoon, as Cameron sits waiting for Tanya during their daily run to the Busy Bee convenience store, he suddenly and inexplicably rises up and out of his wheelchair. In the aftermath of this miracle, Cameron finds himself a celebrity at the center of a contentious debate about what's taken place. And when scientists, journalists, and a Vatican investigator start digging, Cameron's deepest secrets The key to his injury, to his identity, and in some eyes, to the nature of his recovery, become increasingly endangered. Was Cameron's recovery a genuine miracle or a medical breakthrough? Finding himself transformed into a symbol, how can he hope to retain his humanity? Brilliantly written as closely observed journalistic reportage and filtered through a wide lens that encompasses the vibrant characters affected by Cameron's story, Anatomy of a Miracle will be read, championed, and celebrated as a powerful story of our time and the work of a true literary master. Oh, I don't think that that's happened. I have never heard anybody talk about this book. So that's a shame. Maybe it was back in the day, and I didn't hear anyone talking about it even back then. I don't remember seeing it on any prize lists. I forgot to mention, these are signed copies. Yeah. So there is that as well. Let's see here. The first section is called What Happened? And his flesh came again, like unto the flesh of a child, and he was clean. On the afternoon of August 23rd, 2014, Tanya Harris wheeled her younger brother, Cameron, to the Biz EB store on the corner of Reconfort Avenue and Division Street in Biloxi, Mississippi. Nothing about the afternoon, or about Cameron, or about Tanya herself suggested this would be her final time doing so. She was merely out of cigarettes, and her brother, slack-faced and sulky on a day that felt lethally humid, short on beer. It sounds good. Maybe we can bring it back. Maybe we can get Miles I've never heard anybody talk about Jonathan Miles. Have any of you read Jonathan Miles? Maybe we can give this book a little renaissance. BookTube's done it before. I mean, I'm not huge, but maybe somebody huge is watching this video and they can do it. I don't have the reach, but together. Yes, we can. Oh, God. Okay. The next book. This book I bought because I heard Kim at Middle of the Book March talk about this book. I'm pretty sure I've had this on my shelf for 2 years. This one is slightly iffy, but I'm pretty sure I bought it around this time 2 years ago, planning to read it, and didn't. And this is Greenwood by Michael Christie. And let's see. This says, structured like the rings of a tree, this remarkable novel moves from a futuristic world in which only one forest remains to the start of the 20th century, where two young boys survive a train crash, setting them on a path that will forever change their lives and the lives of those around them. Oh. I just remember that she sort of raved about this book and said that it was really, really wonderful. And I think I've heard some other booktubers talk about this as well. Maybe Heidi? But here is the opening. It starts in 2038, and it says, the Greenwood Arboreal Cathedral. They come for the trees, to smell their needles, to caress their bark, to be regenerated in the humbling loom of their shadows, to stand mutely in their leafy churches and pray to their 1,000-year-old souls. From the world's dust-choked cities, they venture to this exclusive arboreal resort, a remote forested island off the Pacific rim of British Columbia, to be transformed, renewed, and reconnected, to be reminded that the earth's once thundering green heart has not flatlined, that the soul of all living things has not come to dust, and that it isn't too late, and that all is not lost. They come here to the Greenwood Arboreal Cathedral to ingest this outrageous lie, and it's Jake Greenwood's job as forest guide to spoon-feed it to them. That sounds good. It's good writing. Okay. All right. How long is this? This is going to be too long. Okay. Here we go again. The next book, I really want to read the latest book about this author that just was published this year. And that book is called Toni at Random. And I can't remember the name of the author, but it is a book about Toni Morrison's time as a editor at Random House. But what I have here, and I've had on my shelf for a while, which I've actually read the first couple of essays, but I really want to read the whole thing. This is The Source of Self-Regard, Selected Speeches, Essays, Speeches, and Meditations from Toni Morrison. I bought this brand new, like right after it was published. I did start reading it, and then because it's essays and different things, I think I set it down and probably went on and read a novel, because I tend to do that with collections like this. And bad on me, right? So it is what it is. It's got these different essays and meditations and speeches. Yes, let's see. And it opens with something called Peril. And let me read the first paragraph. Authoritarian regimes, dictators, despots are often, but not always, fools. That's timely. But none is foolish enough to give perceptive, dissident writers free range to publish their judgments or follow their creative instincts. They know they do so at their own peril. They are not stupid enough to abandon control, overt or insidious, over media. Their methods include surveillance, censorship, arrest, even slaughter of those writers informing and disturbing the public. Writers who are unsettling, calling into question, taking another, deeper look. Writers, journalists, essayists, bloggers, poets, playwrights, can disturb the social oppression that functions like a coma on the population. A coma despots call peace, and they stanch the blood flow of war that hawks and profiteers thrill to. All right, Toni. You're going to talk and we're going to listen. Okay. Very good. All right. My next book, I think now, is actually a series, a TV series, which I have not watched, and I won't watch it till I read the book. And this won the National Book Award, I think, in 2020. And this is for fiction. And this is Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. I love this cover. I actually bought this in 2020. And I've had it sitting on my shelf that long. Pretty sad. I remember buying it. I remember that it was like, or maybe it's 2021. Yeah. But I remember it was during COVID. And I was looking for something funny. Willis Wu doesn't perceive himself as the protagonist in his own life. He's a merely generic Asian man. Sometimes he gets to be background Oriental, making a weird face, or even disgraced son. But always he is relegated to a prop. Yet every day he leaves his tiny room in a Chinatown SRO and enters the Golden Palace restaurant, where Black and White, a procedural cop show, is in perpetual production. He's a bit player here, too, but he dreams of being Kung Fu Guy, the most respected role that anyone who looks like him can attain. Or is it? After stumbling into the spotlight, Willis finds himself launched into a world wider than he's ever known, discovering not only the secret history of Chinatown, but also the buried legacy of his own family. Infinitely inventive and deeply personal, exploring themes of pop culture, assimilation, and immigration, Interior Chinatown is Charles Yu's most moving, daring, and masterful novel yet. Okay, so not his first book. And it starts like Act 1, generic Asian man. Oh, and it's kind of like a script. And it says Interior, Golden Palace. Ever since you were a boy, you've dreamt of being Kung Fu Guy. You are not Kung Fu Guy. You are currently background Oriental male, but you've been practicing. Maybe tomorrow will be the day. Ooh. That's going to be fun if that's kind of written. Oh, it's all written like a screenplay. Oh, fun. Look at this. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be good. Okay. All right. Let me deal with the pile here. Let me move those over there. And the shorter pile. It's gonna. Okay, the next book. This author has a new book also coming out this year, and I will be reading it. But we're going to talk about that book. We're going to talk about this book. I believe this is her second novel, and this is the only one of her novels that I have not read. So I will be a completist at least until the new one comes out and I read that. And this is Abide With Me by Elizabeth Strout. And let's see, this says, when 5-year-old Catherine is struck dumb with grief at her mother's death, it is down to her father, Minister Tyler Caskey, to bring his daughter out of her silence. But Tyler is barely surviving himself. His cold, church-assigned home is colder still since his wife's death, and he struggles to find the right words for his sermons, struggles to be a leader to his congregation when he himself is lost. As the small-town rumor mill goes into overdrive, Tyler's darkest hour approaches. Soon, a startling discovery will test his congregation's humanity and his own will to endure the kinds of trials that sooner or later test us all. So, Catherine might be familiar to some of you from another one of Strout's books, which I will not name in case you haven't read it. I don't want to spoil it. But Strout has brought together the universes of all of her previous novels. She kind of brought them all together in her latest novel in very interesting ways. But the new book that's coming out starts over with all new characters in a new place. So that's going to be something. So this would be the final book from these other worlds, I guess. Or I don't know if it'll be the final book from these other worlds, but it's the only one that I have not read. Let's see. Let's look at the opening of it. I just love her writing. She's absolutely one of my favorite writers. Let's see. Chapter 1. Oh, it would be years ago now, but at one time a minister lived with his small daughter up in a town up north near the Sabinock River, up where the river is narrow and the winters used to be especially long. The minister's name was Tyler Caskey, and for quite some while his story was told in towns up and down the river and as far as over as the coast, until it emerged with enough variations so as to lose its original punch. And just the passing of time, of course, will affect the vigor of these things. But there are a few people still living in the town of Westonette who are said to remember quite clearly the events that took place during the wintry final months of 1959. And if you inquire with enough patience and restraint of curiosity, you can probably get them to tell you what it is they claim to know, although its accuracy might be something you'd have to sort out on your own. Oh yeah, you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to be good. I was actually supposed to buddy read that a couple of years ago with Sarah from Roadworthy, her channel Roadworthy. But I don't think she's doing her channel anymore. Where are you, Sarah? I hope that you're out there and well. I need to check in with her. I did a buddy read with her and Ross earlier this year. But yeah. So I'm finally going to get to it. We ended up not doing it because we both had too many other things going on. And we kept kind of procrastinating it. So I don't know. Sarah, if you want a buddy read, let me know. If you're out there. Okay. The next one is... This was nominated for both the Man Booker and it was still the Orange Prize at the time, or it's now the Women's Prize. And this one I've heard Angelia at Read and Reread talk about many times on her channel. She really, really loves this book. And I got it right when it came out. Or not right when it came out, but not long. I mean, I think after it was nominated for... Oh no, it was her first book that was... I was like, I thought I got this one. I think this was also nominated. But I got it right away. It was her first novel, The Half-Blood Blues, that was... And I'm waving the book around. It's Washington Black by S.A. Edugyan. And I've heard Angelia sing this one's praises. Anyway, that was a babbling little intro. This says, escape is only the beginning. When two English brothers take the helm of a Barbados sugar plantation, Washington Black, an 11-year-old field slave, finds himself selected as personal servant to one of these men. To his surprise, the eccentric Christopher Titch Wilde is a naturalist, explorer, inventor, and abolitionist, and he wants Washington to help him create the perfect aerial machine. But Titch's plans are soon shattered, and Washington is plunged into mortal danger. They escape the island and embark on a strange, life-altering journey. And when Titch disappears, Washington must make his way alone, following the promise of freedom further than he ever dreamed possible. From the blistering cane fields of Barbados to the icy wastes of the Canadian Arctic, from the mud-drowned streets of London to the eerie deserts of Morocco, Washington Black teems with all the strangeness and mystery of life. This is the extraordinary tale of a world destroyed and the search to make it whole again. Okay. And let's see. The first line is, I might have been 10, 11 years old, I cannot say for certain, when my first master died. No one grieved him. In the fields we hung our heads, keening, grieving for ourselves and the estate sale that must follow. He died very old. I saw him only at a distance, stooped, thin, asleep in a shaded chair on the lawn, a blanket in his lap. Well, it goes on. It's a longer paragraph, but I won't read the whole thing because this is getting long. This is getting so long. Okay. I've got two classics. Grab the other one. I didn't put it in here. Okay. I've got two classics. And the first one is Emile Zola's The Lady's Paradise. I don't know if this is... Oh yes, this is part of the Rougon-Macquart series, and it is the 11th book. And I got this, I don't remember why I got this, but I got this also back when I first started my book blog, which was like end of 2008, beginning of 2009. And I think I probably, someone was talking about it on a book blog, and I don't remember now who it was. And so I asked for this and got it for Christmas. And I've had it for this long. Oh, that's kind of sad. Let's see. The Lady's Paradise recounts the spectacular development of the modern department store in late 19th century Paris. The store is a symbol of capitalism, of the modern city, and of the bourgeois family. It is emblematic of consumer culture and the changes in sexual attitudes and class relations taking place at the time. Octave Moret, the store's owner-manager, masterfully exploits the desires of his female customers. In his private life, too, he is a great seducer. But when he falls in love with the innocent Denise Baudu, he discovers that she is the only one of the salesgirls who refuses to be commodified. Now, I've seen online that this is one of those series that you maybe don't want to read it in the order that it was published, that there's another, like there are other preferred reading orders. If anybody has read the series or has read this, if you think it's okay to go ahead and read this without having read the first 10 books, which I don't think will happen in 2026, that would be great to know. So I'll have to look that up. And I don't know, if that ends up happening, maybe I will end up subbing in a different book. But this has been on my shelf a long time, and I am very interested in reading Zola, and it's got a very long introduction before we get to the opening. Denise had come on foot from the Gare Saint-Lazare. She and her two brothers had arrived on a train from Cherbourg and had spent the night on the hard bench of the third-class carriage. She was holding Pepe by the hand, and Jean was walking behind her, all three exhausted from the journey, frightened and lost in the midst of the vast city of Paris. They kept looking up at the houses, and at every intersection they asked the way to Rue de la Michodière, where their Uncle Baudu lived. But on arriving at the Place Gaillon, the young girl suddenly stopped in surprise. My French is very rusty. This is not in French, by the way. This is in English. My French is not good enough for me to be able to read in French anymore. So, yeah. Well, we'll see. It's an Oxford World Classic edition, which is a nice edition of this and a pretty cover. So I'm intrigued. Let me know if you know anything about that. Okay, the final book is this is a big one. I think I said there were no chunky ones, but this is actually, I'm such a liar. But I can't tell how long it is because it's a bunch of books that have basically been put together. And so the page numbers are like, the section page numbers they start at like at 1 and go to the end of the piece, almost like it's a serialization. But this is A Dance to the Music of Time by Anthony Powell. And I have had this book for the same amount of time that I've had this book. I got these at the same time. And this one I know because I had started reading Lydia Kiesling's book blog. Yes, Lydia Kiesling was a book blogger way back in the day. She had a blog called, I believe it was Widmerpool's Modern Library Review or something like that. I'll have to see if I think the blog's been taken down, but some of the entries got moved over to the Millions when she started writing for the Millions. And I think there's some of them are still up there. I'll see if this one is. I think that her review of this was her inaugural post, if you will, and the namesake. It's the blog. This book is she named the blog after a character in this book. Blah blah blah. If you don't know who Lydia Kiesling is, she is a novelist. She wrote a book. Her first novel was called The Golden State, and then her second book, which I'm planning to reread soon, is Mobility. This was one of my favorite books from last year. This is a fantastic novel. She also writes freelance, and she's writing a new novel right now. Yay! No pressure, Lydia. Okay, so let's see. This includes 3 novels. I think there are 10 total, or 9 or 10 total in the series. But this is the first 3, A Question of Upbringing, A Buyer's Market, and The Acceptance World. And it says 4 very different young men on the threshold of manhood dominate this opening volume of A Dance to the Music of Time. The narrator, Jenkins, a budding writer, shares a room with Templar, already a passionate womanizer, and Stringham, aristocratic and reckless. Widmerpool, as hopelessly awkward as he is intensely ambitious, lurks on the periphery of their world. Amid the fever of the 1920s and the first chill of the 1930s, these 4 gain their initiations into sex, society, business, and art. Considered a masterpiece of modern fiction, Powell's epic creates a rich panorama of life in England between the wars. So I'm really excited about this. Let's see. I'm so excited that I've let it sit on my shelf for 15 years at least. Okay. Let's see. The men at work at the corner of the street had made a kind of camp for themselves, where, marked out by tripods, hung with red hurricane lamps, an abyss in the road led down to a network of subterranean drain pipes. Gathered round the bucket of coke that burned in front of the shelter, several figures were swinging arms against bodies and rubbing hands together with large pantomimic gestures, like comedians giving formal expression to the concept of cold. One of them, a spare fellow in blue overalls, taller than the rest, with a jocular demeanor and a long pointed nose like that of a Shakespearean clown, suddenly stepped forward and, as if performing a rite, cast some substance, apparently the remains of 2 kippers, loosely wrapped in newspaper, on the bright coals of the fire, causing flames to leap fiercely upward, smoke curling about in eddies of the northeast wind. Nice writing. All right, so that's it. There we have it. There are my 10 books for next year. It's quite the stack. Let me know, as I said, if any of these are interesting to you. I apologize for the length of this video if you're still here. I hope that you're still here. Thank you for sticking around, and I would love to hear what you think about these, if you've read any of these, if they sound interesting to you, and yeah, I hope that you will be back for the next one. I promise it won't be so long. And yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's everything. And thank you again, Shelly. And also, I'm going to put the link to Terry's channel down below. Also, go visit Terry. She's fantastic. Speaking of blogging, I have been following her. She was blogging even before I was. She has been in the book sphere for a good long time. So give her a follow as well if you haven't already. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care.